Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org, and this is another video tutorial for the new Boston. Now in this video we're going to go through some basic setup and then some code in order to detect the user's browser. However, the first stage of this, you need to obtain a file that needs to be placed inside a directory, preferably inside your XAMPP setup or whatever distribution you're using of a PHP package or PHP Apache package. And you also need to modify your php.ini file. So before you do anything, even if you think this file is up to date, we need to find a file called it's called browsecap.ini. So if you haven't got this file inside I'm in XAMPP here, and then in PHP, you need to have this file somewhere existing. So you can re-download it. If you Google for it, you'll be able to find it at somewhere available to download. Just make sure it's the file for PHP and not for PHP. Yeah. So, okay, once you've obtained this file, copy it over to a directory that you can access, and you can specify it in your php.ini file. So once you've found this file, we go to php.ini. Let's find that down here. Okay, and we're going to open this. So I already have this open, and I've searched for browsecap, and I can see this here, and I've got browsecap equals something. So here we're going to specify where this browsecap file is kept, and in my case it's c:\xampp, and then it's in PHP, and then we need to specify the file name itself. So once you've done this, you can go ahead and file, save. Now what we need to do is we're going to open up our control panel for XAMPP, and I'm going to stop our Apache service. So I'm going to click stop. Now that's stopped, and I can restart it now. So our php.ini settings have been initialized by our reset of this. Now what we need to do is come into context, and I'm going to introduce you to a function that's going to allow us to get data about the browser. So now, if you've correctly downloaded browsecap.ini, put it inside a directory and changed your php.ini to point to that file, this should work. If it doesn't work, then check you've done absolutely everything right and you've restarted Apache as well. So inside context, I'm going to create a new variable called browser, and this is going to be equal to a function getBrowser. Now this function takes two arguments. The first argument is the user agent, which we could obtain from the $_server HTTP user agent. However, we're not going to do that. We're just going to specify the value of null. Now the second argument that we need to provide is whether we want this to be returned as an array, and we do want this to be returned as an array because that's how we're going to use it later on. So you just simply put true here. You can put 1 if you want, but it's probably just better to put true. So how are we going to echo out all of the array contents? Well, we're going to use the print r for this, and we're going to obviously put the browser reference to the array in there. So now let's refresh the page and see what happens. Right, okay, so you can see that it's returned quite a few bits of information about my browser. Now you can see things like Chrome in here, Chrome 10, etc., as well as some other information. If you're not receiving any of this information, like Chrome, Mozilla, anything like that, then you may have incorrectly downloaded or incorrectly referenced this browsecap.ini. So again, make sure that's correct. You may just see sort of star under this browser name regex or something. So if you have the following information in front of you, you will be good to proceed. So this is the first stage to using this getBrowser function, and in the second part of this tutorial we're going to look at how we can extract information from this, and we're also going to test it with a couple of other browsers to make sure this information is correct before we start creating if statements to detect the user's browser. Now, just before I go in this part, I want to talk about why we might want to detect the user's browser. It's always an important part of when you're viewing a web page to format things correctly for users, and also you might want to notify users that using another browser might be better to display your web page. So when you are creating a web page, it might look slightly different in other browsers, and if you want to say to a user, download Google Chrome, this is going to work a lot better, then you can recommend, say, Google Chrome to your users in order for them to switch their browser, in order for them to view your page a lot better. So how are we going to work it out? Well, we're going to say, if they're, say, using Firefox or Internet Explorer, we might want to say to them, you're using this browser, please change to Google Chrome to view this website correctly. And vice versa as well. A web page might be better displayed in Internet Explorer, or it might be better displayed in Firefox, as well as a host of other browsers that you can use, so including, say, Opera or Safari. So in the next part of the tutorial, we're going to look at how we can extract some of this information and detect the user's browser and just print a message to them telling them what their browser is. But we're not going to give them any of this rubbish information. We're basically going to give them a single string. So we're going to give them Chrome or Firefox or Mozilla or Internet Explorer. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. So we're not going to be giving them Chrome 10.0 or Chrome with the platform, or Chrome like this. We're just going to give it in lowercase, and we're going to use some of this information to detect what browser the user might be using.